Welcome to the Evolution Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about all kinds of subjects. One of them, particularly that we are working on currently, and that is a doing kind of a social media or distraction fast. And we challenge some of our clients to do it with us, so several of them are actually doing it with us. And we're just going to talk about some of the things that we've found, why we're doing it, a few of those things, and then maybe we'll get into something juicy. I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah. Well, first, when I told my mom we were doing a social media fast, she was like, "What's that?"
I had no idea.
No idea. So maybe that we start by just sharing like what exactly it is that we're doing.
Okay.
So,
What's your version?
my version of the social media fast is so I've committed myself to 72 hours of just like staying off social media.
Hmm.
So that includes like no scrolling. But the only I have we're allowing ourselves to go into Messenger. And so I have to go through Facebook to get to my Messenger. So I've been opening it and even like looking at it, but just looking at like the first post that pops up. And then I quickly like go over to Messenger. But my version of it is just like no mindless scrolling for 72 hours. Um, I did schedule a couple posts. And so it appears that I am posting on Facebook for the last couple days. But if I'm triggering anybody or if anybody's saying anything, like I have no idea.
So one of the reasons that the challenge came up with this is to actually raise your vibration so that when you're manifesting, you can get more intentional and better results. So there was a large intention behind it and then a lot of discovery during it. So I had a question for you.
Yeah,
How many times do you think you've picked up your phone with the intention to going there and then went, oh, never mind?
like a bunch, probably.
Or even when you're like finished doing something and you get bored and then you want to go, never mind.
Yeah, no, like a bunch. And there's been multiple times where I've thought to myself, I would be scrolling right now, or I could be scrolling right now, or I pick up my phone and I click on it and then just click out of it because I'm like, what am I doing?
Yeah, it really it kind of exposed for me just how often I'm going there. Like I'll do something, I'll finish it, and finish what I'm doing, and I pick up my phone like I'm going to check notifications, which typically winds up with several minutes of wasted time.
Looking at reels.
Or even if it's not reels, it's just like mine probably goes a little further than just social media because the intention is more not be distracted and be intentional. And so there's a couple different things that I was looking at where one is if you get into the mindless scrolling, which even when I started this same time you uh, did pretty good staying off, but then someone sends me a message and then I click on the message and then it pulls up a reel. And without even knowing what's happening, I've already gone through one, two, or three, and I'm like, oh, wait, get out of here. Like that's how addictive it is, right? To just get caught up in it. It's like, oh no, stop and move on. And for me, there's on my phone multiple different email account notifications that pop up, multiple different social platforms that usually give me some kind of notification, whether it's through an email or something. There's I've got cryptocurrency notifications popping up, distracting me from what I'm doing. And so I'm starting to shut off some of these notifications because I'm like, if I'm not going there, it shouldn't be bothering me. Like this is a distraction to my focus. And if I can't focus, I can't manifest effectively. So that's a little more of the direct thing. And there's, I don't know, before I go too far, it's just like it's challenging.
Mhm.
Like when you actually try to stop and you realize how often you just grab your phone to look at it, it's like, why am I looking at my phone right now?
I think one of the things is that like we really want to just grow and grow and grow and keep growing and keep like getting better um and I think that part of the being really intentional with growth is also like challenging yourself and pushing yourself to do things that allow like exponential growth, such as food fast, social media fast, like whatever it might be. But so I love when we were talking about this before we actually did it, how you said like you kind of made us decide what we could do during the time. So like if you're not mindless scrolling, if you're not distracting yourself with this, what else can you do to, kind of keep yourself busy, right?
Yeah.
But not just busy, but like what have you been avoiding that you can now that you have the time, you can actually get it done. So like what have you been avoiding that now that you've committed to staying off the distraction, now you have the time to actually do it. And I love that because there are things that I think all of us are avoiding that we know kind of needs to get done, or we've been wanting to get it done, but we've just been putting it off. And so um just that like moving forward and removing the social media and actually getting the things done. And I personally have been really enjoying it and might want to continue or just take a deeper look at how much time I'm looking at it, but I just want to continue being really conscious of how much time I'm just using to distract myself on like social media and even like the games too a little bit and
Mm.
stuff. Like I kind of want to stay off all of that, but like yeah, so it's just been really good. I don't
Yeah,
know.
might have to do something like, and I think there's a programs on your phone where you can do this, where certain times of the day it locks you out
Yeah.
of certain things. Like you can tell it like only phone is only accessible for these things during this time, or these are the times when I can do it. One of my bad habits, I would say, is I go work like crazy, get everything done, just go, 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 go. And then at the end of the day, try and catch up on all this stuff, which then takes me into the social media, which then usually results in some kind of a scroll. And I'm all over the freaking place,
Mm.
because I'm like now engaged because I was focused on what I was doing, or I'm doing something during the day and I remember something like, oh yeah, I need to do this thing. And then I pick up my phone to do it and I see all these notifications and I'm like, who texts me? And then I look at the text and now I forgot why I even opened my phone in the first place
Mm.
because there's just too much happening. And when you add in the social media stuff that comes with it, you just get scattered and there's no focus.
Yeah. One of the questions I was gonna ask on my social media before I even started this, but I didn't ask the question. But I was gonna say, like, what would be more difficult for you? A 3-day food fast or a 3-day social media fast?
I mean, that's a good question. Like especially if you took it to the extreme of water only, or like making your phone to where the only thing you could do was receive a text or make a phone call. Imagine if that was the only thing you could do from your phone.
I've reached out to people in the last couple days that I normally like wouldn't have just because I was like thinking of people. So I've been like satisfying my need for connection through like actual connection,
Yeah, actual social interaction,
which has been kind of
not
cool.
fake online. I mean, it's not fake, but it is disconnected.
Well, especially the reels. The reels these days, I think, are like a
Oh,
big
they're
distraction.
so good at what they do.
They're so good at what they do, and they're funny. I'm watching them, and I'm next thing you know, I've sent Mac 5
Yeah,
reels of cats.
yeah, sarcastic relationship version cats, or that, like I get on there and I see sometimes like really good information for,
Of a cat that's like,
yeah. But I watch some types of like mechanic stuff. I watch scientific, sometimes studies. Um, there's so much information that's like, and I like all of it. I take so much in. Um, but it's just like, oh, what's next? What's next? What's next? And there's this book I read a while ago, and we read a couple chapters in it. when we kind of started this as a reminder, and it's called Stolen Focus. And it goes in depth a little bit on like how distracted people actually psychologically get when they're in social media and how good they are doing those jobs. And when they actually saw that there was a problem, like they were causing problems with what they were doing, and they tried to stop it, the money guys came in and said, "What are you doing? Stop doing that. Do it like you were told." Because and they justify it through the means of the investors want to get paid, which means we want to get paid too. And they do not care two bits about your health or your safety or anything else. It is bottom line about money, and bottom line about doing the best they can to keep you scrolling, because you scrolling means you buy ads, which means people pay them. And if well, not you buy ads, but you buy the stuff that is ran on ads. And so the more they can hook you, the more they can draw out that fear of missing out or scarcity or attention or dopamine, all those psychological and biological factors, they all come into it. And then we become very disorganized, non-effective beings inside of that. And no one is, I don't think I've ever met a person that's safe from it. I know a lot of people that have kind of like pushed it away and got away from it, or come and go out different ways. Everybody runs at a different pace. The I have a little bit of a challenge with it where I use it for my business to sell cars. So marketplace is the number one place to sell stuff right now because the way that it's just what people use. And I'll get on marketplace and I'll wind up scrolling marketplace for a minute, just, well, what's that? What's that? What's that? And then it's like now I'm basically brain dead scrolling on stuff I don't need.
Mm.
But if I see a good deal, I'll probably buy it. And sometimes I get good deals. So it keeps that hunger fed. And I have to remember, get off, like the one objective I have is come in, do this thing. And so it comes down to being able to actually effectively schedule the time and then stay unplugged from it for long periods of time so that your mind can do what it does. That's the important part. And when you get that impulse, that kick on board, pull your phone up, you're not actually allowing your emotional status to come in and solve your problems or tell you what's next. Because we have this faculty inside us, like a God-given consciousness that runs on emotions and thoughts, right? The two together, but the emotions come first. And when we're not getting the emotional depth, struggle, uncomfortable, agitation, or whatever, what's happening is we're just like covering it up, putting layers over the top of this thing and hiding it. That usually comes up worse somewhere else. And then all of a sudden we're really agitated and all over the place and you know, whatever. But it's fascinating to kind of think about sometimes and then stop and say, what happens if I don't do this? And then you really see, wow, I'm really like, I really have a strong impulse to want to go there. Right.
I think there's so many benefits of social media, but it's also like really nice to kind of have the usage under control a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I want to move towards is like still getting on because I love social media. I love it. When Mac suggested this fast, I was like, oh my God, because I don't think I've spent 3 days off social media since before 2015.
Yeah.
So almost 9 years. But that's true because in 2015 is when I started like network marketing and made a commitment to show up on social media daily.
Mm.
And that never stopped.
Yeah.
And so to go off of it for 3 days was kind of like, I used to like kind of freak out if I couldn't check it for like a few hours. But I personally have been better at letting it go because I stopped caring so much. Like I realized the reason I check it so much is because, well, one of the reasons is probably because sometimes I say things or post things or comment on things that triggers people. And so I like to like make sure that I'm not causing a scene. And so but so that's why I'm like, I constantly checking it to see how people are reacting. And I actually don't really like that. And I think I've been letting that go a little bit and not really caring so much as much because it's like I'm kind of standing more in my power, I guess, if you will, where it's like I know what I'm saying and I know that some people are going to disagree with me. And so I don't need to get on and argue back and forth. In fact, when people try to argue with me more so these days, or if I trigger someone, I just kind of let it go anyways. It's like, whatever, I don't care. But, um, that's me. Like, so because I scheduled a couple posts and they're on there, like, I don't know how people are reacting to them. And so that's, I'm kind of like, does that make sense?
Serious, yeah.
Um,
I'm the opposite. I'm like, I go check a post to see if anybody started to battle with me yet, so I can battle back.
I know it's really funny because Mac almost, I feel like sometimes he's inviting the battles and
100%.
and I'm like trying to avoid them. But I realized in my avoiding the battles, that that presents a different type of problem in people pleasing. And I don't want to, and when you try to people please, then you actually dim your light on social media to try to appease everybody, which actually doesn't serve anybody if you're trying to, make an impact and make a difference.
Mhm.
So
And I just got everybody up in triggers, like not listening anyway. So I gotta be a little, little softer sometimes. But ultimately the main reason behind this is so that you can manifest what you want. And when you're distracted, you don't have a lot of power in manifesting. You really got to kind of let go of it. And there's this interesting study done. I can't quote where it was from, but a university type study where they figured out that when people kind of disconnect from everything and just let their mind wander and they get more into their emotions of it and it just kind of wanders around and it can go all over the place and everything else. But what's happening is you're actually problem solving, right? Your emotional system is communicating with your brain and it starts problem solving on its own. And when you have a healthy emotional system with high integrity, and then you also have a healthy body that is working with that, then you can rapidly discover things that you are not able to tap into when you are addicted to things like social media or always on the move, right? Like, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do that, and not stopping. It's like this, that when people say stop and smell the roses, it is a true statement. I used to say, um, I was like, I don't need to because I can just buy the roses. Like, fuck off. That was kind of my my attitude. But I've spent way too much time working, 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 working to lose it all multiple times, and I'm like, it's not like why bother? If I don't find joy, then none of this is worth it. Like no amount of life is worth not having joy, whether you work hard or whatever. So if you're hustling to get it done, there should be some joy in it, right? Like joy in the battle and the challenge and the whatever. You should be in experiencing something like, does this make me happy? Does this bring me joy? Something good. And when you're always on the go, which I'm the expert of, I can go, 14, 16, 24 hours a day if I need to. And not only am I working physically, but my brain is doing way more work. People will watch me eat food and wonder how I stay skinny. And it's like, well, because my brain burns way more calories than my body does because it never stops. It goes like, if you've seen me move fast, my brain is running 10 times that pace. And recently I've got multiple different businesses that I'm working on with a pile of different projects. I'm managing way too many of the different aspects of each project, and was just like, this is this doesn't feel good for one. Um, I'm way too distracted, and now I'm hitting the kind of threshold of I just want to not do anything. I just want to go be like a bum, not a bum, but I want to more or less get away from everything and everyone and hide for a minute and just veg out type feeling. It's
Like burnout.
yeah, more or less. And I say that, and my version of a veg out is not look like I still probably outwork people that think they're working hard at a veg state,
Mm.
but it's not doesn't feel good to me. So I was just out of nowhere, I just decided to challenge everybody else. I wasn't even sure if I was going to do it. I was just like, this is a good idea. You should do it. And I was like, why am I not doing this? Like,
Mhm.
this is what I need.
Well, I think too, like anytime you decide to just like break a pattern,
Yeah.
like you break a pattern and breaking that pattern causes us to like you were just saying though, ask like different questions and rethink things and get, focused again and where we can make different decisions and decide different things. And so it's like anytime like feeling overwhelmed or burnout or anything, it's like let's find let's break a pattern and see what happens. What comes out of it? Maybe new ideas or right? Like
Yeah. And that crazy like when you don't use social media or any technology, it would be like this. Leave your phone at home and go for a drive. For like not like out away from everything else, no radio, no contact with anything, and you're just gonna drive by yourself for 4 hours in the middle of nowhere. You're gonna feel agitation, right?
oh
Like
yeah.
you're gonna be like, oh no, where's my phone? Like, and then you're gonna start thinking of all the things that you should be doing or should have done or could be doing if you just had your phone. Or if you just this or and that uncomfortable stuff that's happening is like so important to go through. It's kind of like the work, like if you do a workout,
Mm-hmm.
it's a little bit uncomfortable. It's hard to get going, but once you get going into it, then eventually it feels good. But in the meantime, it's a struggle. And so this agitated struggle, if you don't let yourself go through it and feel it, it's going to start to haunt you at some point, and you start to emotionally shut down and distance yourself from people, start creating stories, and then it just goes all over the place. Whereas when you can just unplug, you'll come up with what you really want, your better whys, what you're going to manifest. You'll be able to handle conversations that are like maybe you have something that's not working for you in your life, a relationship, your body, your money, something. You'll go into those and kind of be like, this isn't working. Why isn't this working? And eventually, after enough quiet time, your mind will begin to say, this is what I really want, and this is what I don't want. And you get really clear. And
And this
that,
is what I need to do.
yep. And typically this is what I need to do. Sometimes comes with and you disconnect, you get centered for yourself, then you get a little coaching, or you get around some of the like-minded people, and they say a few things or ask a few questions, and then it's like some more quiet time, click, there it is, that's what I need to do. So most of the time when I do this type of thing, I right now I get plenty of opportunity when I drive, and a lot of times I'm catching up on some audios or doing this, but there's always some point in there where it stops and I'm just like driving. That's it. There's nothing else. I'm just kind of blank stare driving with my mind just rolling and rolling and rolling through all this crazy information. And then I'll put in little bits of like from coaches or from good information, or it could be from the Bible, could be from church, could be something. And one of the problems I had, and then I'll hear that, and either while I'm hearing it, it will solve the problem, like it'll click, or in the silence, it'll click. This is what I need to do. And because I'm not distracted, I have enough conviction and decision making and commitment ability to actually say that I'm going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So what I see though with most people, especially when I'm coaching people on like I'm doing a teaching, it's an hour call, 15 minutes, da, 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 da. I'm watching them get the cognitions of the things that they need to do. Challenge is right after the call, they go into their social media and scroll, and it disconnects them, and there's no commitment. And they completely forget about it until someone brings it up again the next time. And that's versus getting out of the world, being with yourself, it clicking and remaining with yourself long enough to figure out how you're actually going to stick that, make it
Mm-hmm.
stick, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that alone centered, and it can be meditate, like a meditation could do it. Doing it sometimes with like yoga, I think would probably be beneficial depending on the environment. I think yoga is maybe a little more challenging for me because I'm not very flexible and I'm around other people and I don't want to like fall on them. So maybe, like, but there's just a remembrance of saying, make sure that you are unplugging from the chaos so that you can give yourself the clarity you need and connect emotionally. Because the emotional connection to you and your body and yourself is the powerful thing where God, universe will lead you to where you need to go. There's a like a thing that I'll use sometimes like red light, green light, yellow light. Which is it? And if I'm thinking, well, should I go do this thing or should I do this idea? If I just randomly think about it, how's it feel? It's kind of confusing if I'm busy and I'm agitated and I'm scrolling and all these different stuff. It's like, I don't know. I don't know that I feel anything different. Whereas if I have intentional time and I feel it, and maybe I don't have the answer yet, but I stay in my silent by myself time, or I just put it out there and something will come to me and eventually I will feel a clear decision making answer that says, don't do that, or yes, do this, or you decide, yellow light. You can go either way. And I know that difference. I have felt that difference. I've seen the results of that before, but I still have to remember to take myself out of the chaos so that I can get that level of clarity. So yeah, it can be challenging. And there is a proper way of doing this. Like the clients that I'm working with, there was a setup, there's a protocol, there's a this, to keep them to get all the massive benefits that you can actually get for manifesting. It's not just a matter of, oh, this is going to help me manifest. So I'm going to do a 72-hour social detox fast, whatever. There's a protocol for it. Anything else?
I
Mm.
Oh, I just think that was really good. I've super enjoyed it. I think I had some thoughts in there, but I don't know. It's just really good. I don't know what else to say.
I don't think we really need to say anything else.
Mm-mm.
Um, is there any other topics we want to cover while we're here?
No, I just really appreciate the intentionality behind everything that you do, and it makes me really excited. And I have really enjoyed this
Yeah,
social media fast.
it's been a good,
Hmm.
peaceful.
I made the decision to I want to read through the whole Bible and the Book of Mormon, so I started doing that this week, which has been really cool. And I also made a decision to do some breath work with you this afternoon. So I'm very excited for that.
You know what I was thinking about when I was driving here this time? Um, it wasn't breath work, but it was similar. So we were probably kind of on the same wavelength. But it was just simply like sitting down on the floor across from each other, looking each other in the eyes and allowing ourselves to feel whatever feelings came up, whether some did or didn't. And just do that with not necessarily the intention to connect with each other, because that's going to be an automatic, that's given when you stare someone in the eyes, but to actually recognize the feelings that I'm having internally, whether it brings tears, whether it's a laugh, whether it's an uncomfortableness, whether it's an agitation, whether like whatever it is, but actually identifying what the feeling is and where it is.
Mm.
and just do it for a set amount of time and just see what happens. And then you're like, I want to do breath work. And it's like, well, it's kind of about the same, similar, very similar, but a little different. Maybe we do both.
Yeah,
So
maybe.
yeah,
That's cool.
but both those came from the disconnection from the noise
Mm-hmm.
and being stuck with ourselves and having that internal conversation with probably some influence from a good book, a podcast, something a little quieter than the normal noise of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. I even got to take a like take time out with Cameron yesterday and pull him away for a little bit and go for a walk outside and stuff. And so just like where normally it would have just been, he'll be like, no, I don't want to. And I'll just be like, okay. And then I'll just sit on the couch and start scrolling. And I'm like, nope, we're going.
yeah,
We're going for a walk, like me and you,
yeah,
just us. And we actually spent a lot of good quality time together yesterday. So that was really cool.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
awesome.
Yeah. So I'm
All right.
grateful.
Well, we'll just leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
And so just a little bit of our findings and encouragement to maybe do the same, take that challenge of a 72-hour technology. And my suggestion is don't just make it about social media, make it about distractions. Like what is pulling you away from you?
Yeah. I'm smiling because I was just thinking like you're such a master at pulling things away to gain clarity. And it just reminded me of the time we stopped having sex for like how many months? Like, yeah,
Well,
wait
it,
till we
it,
get
it started at 30 days. And then after the decision was made that we were going to get married, then it was a continuation of it until we are married. And I think it wound up being about 2.5 months.
2.5 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, um, you know, I don't think you're challenging our viewers to a 72 hours social media fast, but just wait until we get on here and challenge you to a 2.5 month.
Yeah.
A two
Yeah.
and a half month sex fast. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I think if anything, that it just goes back to the idea of we can talk about this and you can probably think that it's a good idea, right? Anybody that's ever been in our shoes or similar to it, it's gonna think, yeah, I should do that, or probably should that, but I don't want to do it. And whether or not you're gonna actually do it typically is the difference of the people that are in our membership or the people that are not.
Right.
The people that are in our membership actually know why they're doing it. They have a little community to do it with. So the good idea becomes committed, and then there's a discipline that sticks to it, and then the benefits come from that, and then the results come from that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the cool part. And so, I mean, I can have you do a call to action to say, yeah, do a 72-hour fast of social media or technology or distractions or whatever it is. And this is how you do it. This is the intention, da 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 da, whatever. But really, the call to action here is plug into our system, come join the other people that are doing it and do it with them so that you can get like the extra pull of the community. Like it's always easier to go to the gym if you have a workout buddy. It's just more fun. You challenge each other, you do stuff, or you're having fun together, and it becomes this cool thing. Whereas it's a little harder to do it alone. Some people like it alone, I get that, but when you find that right person to do it with, it's cool. And so inside the membership, you get that opportunity to kind of be around other people, to watch them figure it out, screw up, this and that. Like there's no judgment. You learn lessons, you get the extra tangibility that disconnects you from, like it forces you to disconnect so that you can give yourself more focus. So you're taking time from here and you're investing it in you, and then you begin to see the results with some guidance. Like nobody goes sailing in the sea without some nautical guidance system, right? Like you're just not going to do that. That would be insanity. And our ability with the membership is that, that compass. It gives you the compass to say, this is the direction. Ask the right questions. Well, where do you want to go? Okay, well, here's the map, and here's the thing that helps keep you on course, these steps that we move through day after day. So that's the call to action, is to say, hey, do something different, plug in, it's like stupid cheap, affordable for the level of quality that you're getting. So at least start there. And if you need higher level, if you decide, no, no, I don't need that, like I need this, then you directly reach out. You get off your ass and reach out and say, hey, I need this. Can you help me? Yes. Like, let me show you. But not always will we, because not everyone's a perfect fit. We just want the people that are a good fit, that are going to stick around. They're also going to serve each other, help other people occasionally, and when they need help, they will get all the help from everyone else. So yeah.
So good. All right. We
All
will
right.
see you guys
We'll see.
next time. Bye.